this free will thing, this free will stuff. There are many avenues to entertain this topic, and I'm not going to go through them all. Not even the slightest. I just have one video with Eckart Tolle speaking to it to some extent, I guess. And then there's also death and enlightenment. So we're gonna keep moving pretty quickly, I hope, and hopefully it will be life fulfilling. Let's hear what Eckart Tolle has to say.
Limited perspective is never the entire truth. So whenever anybody says anything, it can never be the complete truth. You always have to look at other perspectives too. When I say you have a choice, this is what it appears to be, and it's a useful and helpful perspective.
So this is he's beginning to speak about free will. He says that when it appears to, I think there are many non-dual teachers too. I don't necessarily think Eckart Tolle is one of those who are like specifically non-duality teachers, such as maybe Rupert Spira, or what is his name, like Michael Newman or someone like that, who like uses that type of language all the time. There's the appearance of this, there's the appearance of that. But here he uses that type of language, Eckart Tolle that is, and says that there's this appearance of choice. Okay.
Perspective. Ultimately, you are not separate from the totality of consciousness. So I might as well say then consciousness chooses to express itself through you, but to you it looks as if you had a choice. But you are consciousness. Let's not confuse it too much, because language can complicate things excessively.
Yeah, so that's true too. Language can complicate things excessively, like he says. And I think the topic of free will is essentially a mute topic. I mean, you can talk about it forever, and you will get exactly nowhere, basically. It may be entertaining, it may be even, I guess, helpful in some circumstances. I don't know, actually. Maybe of course we can see instances when we can theorize that it's useful to have an understanding of, whether or not free will is real or not. There are studies done by Roy Baumeister, for example, where he says that, they've done studies on people who, where they say to, the participants, they tell them that free will is an illusion. And then they go on and act less morally, more morally egregious than the group that they tell that free will is not an illusion. We actually do have free will. So in that circumstance, we can say functional reason to believe in free will, to the degree that you believe that it's good to have more quote unquote moral behavior. It's morally like being nice to people or doing good things, those kinds of things. It is only like temporary, I think, when in these studies, but it goes to show that the belief in free will or not can impact our lives, and they can impact behavior in different ways. Eckart Tolle here says, though, that at least as I interpret him, that there isn't any free will. Similar to what many sages throughout history has said too. For example, Ramana Maharishi. He said that everything is predetermined, basically. There's another guy called Albert Einstein. You may have heard of him. Says the same thing, that everything is predetermined. And I don't know if Nisargadatta Maharaj, he said he seemed to agree with almost everything that Ramana said, so maybe he also says that, but I'm not, don't quote me on that. There are a lot of sages saying that. There are some, spiritual teachers that say that there is free will. But, yeah, there's the appearance of free will, I guess many of the non-dual people would say. And some people actually have the experience of not having any free will, that everything is just unfolding, basically. I imagine some of these non-dual teachers have that experience. Some people do, some people don't. To me, it doesn't really matter a whole lot. From a scientific point of view, I would say that, to my knowledge, to my understanding, most people within the scientific community would say that we have very little, if any, free will. There's, I think most people would fall on, almost nothing. I mean, we don't choose our biology, for example. We don't choose how our bodies are set together, and we know that biology is a huge predictor of of everything. Personality, interests, temperament, everything has biological underpinnings. We know that also through monozygotic twins studies, in which people who are identical are reared apart, and then they end up very similar still. And the difference isn't necessarily because of the environment, because people mono twins reared apart as well as reared together are just as similar or dissimilar, which goes to show that we don't really know what makes it different. It's not the upbringing, at least. It's not the environment in which they grow up, at least not the family dynamics. But there may be some other factors that we don't quite know about in the environment. We don't choose our environment either, though. So neither biology, neither nature nor nurture is chosen by us. So those things are already at first hand, not a lot of choice there, right? We don't choose our parents. We don't, at least not from a scientific point of view. Maybe in some spiritual circles we do. But I would say that that's the consensus, even though people like Daniel Dennett, for example, the late nowadays, Dan Dennett, seem to believe that there were, arguments for free will. So there are spiritual teachers saying that there is no free will, and here Eckart Tolle is saying it, and as I said, Ramana Maharishi and the greatest scientific mind of our many generations. I don't know how far back we want to go, but Einstein seems to be one of those. He also believed that. In the end, though, it doesn't matter. Our own experience is what it is. So every belief, whether it's about free will or not, is ultimately, as I said, moot. As far as I see it, it doesn't matter. Nothing comes out of it. It's just a belief. And as Ramana Maharishi would say, who is having that thought? Who wants to know? And you would say, I do. And he would say, inquire into that I. Find out who that I is. And your question will be resolved. Or it will be, evaporated maybe. So what is free will? Yeah, it's a thought, maybe we could say. Death and enlightenment is, actually the same thing. Death and enlightenment are also thoughts or ideas. They are not ultimately real. This is the short version. So, in the Heart Sutra, they actually tell us this. They say explicitly, this is the late, again, Thich Nhat Hanh's version of it. He says, all phenomena bear the mark of emptiness. So definitely our ideas or thoughts. Their true nature is the nature of no birth, no death, no being, no non-being, no defilement, no purity, no increasing, no decreasing. In essence, saying that, yeah, there's nothing basically. Everything is like a dream. Everything is just, in one way, just like a thought, just like a wind blowing through the wind. Everything is just empty. There's no inherent existence to it. And yeah, so the question is of what is free will, or do we have free will? Even at the practical level, I don't think it has any bearing apart from, the studies by Roy Baumeister, or, to the degree that people who believe in it or not are helped by it. But in general, I don't think it matters. I mean, it just matters regarding those to the degree that the belief affects you somehow. But your experience tend to be the same, whether or not you believe it or not. I mean, for some people who have the experience of things just happening, I imagine that their belief also would be that there is no free will. Things is because everything is just flowing. Whereas people who have a degree of free will might believe it, even though many, like scientists and other people who have the experience of free will, it feels like we are able to choose things, right? We can, I want to stand up, I want to go, I want to call someone, I want to, whatever it is, I want to shut down this this video. That is, and doing that feels like free will, but in according to many traditions, according to many saints and sages, and according to many scientists, that is not true. In actuality. But even more so, the Heart Sutra tells us that there's something beyond death, beyond free will, beyond even enlightenment. Even enlightenment is a thought. It's an idea. And when you wake up from all ideas, even the idea of enlightenment. So enlightenment becomes becomes nothing, just like everything else. There's just this moment, there's just this, or whatever you know. Nothing to understand, nothing to grasp. No being, no non-being, no purity, no defilement, as they say, no increasing, no decreasing. So they say all of these things. In emptiness, body, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness itself are not separate self-entities. It's just phenomena in a way that is empty of existence, not truly real, or neither real nor non-real is even more accurate, I would say, to say. So, whoever can see this no longer needs anything to attain. So, in a way, the one who sees this clearly, that there is nothing here, really. There's nothing to grasp, there's nothing to gain, there's nothing at all happening, no one doing anything. This is again like many of the non-dual teachers say. But it is, depending on how you want to view it, you can speak about the relative existence or the absolute existence. If you want to, I mean, nothing, even what I say doesn't mean anything either. It's just words. It's just sounds. So they end it with Gata Gata Paragata Parasamgata Bodhisvaha. That's the end of the Heart Sutra. Saying basically, beyond, going even more beyond. Oh, how wonderful. Enlightenment, how wonderful. Just being, just being that isn't, no being, no being. Just going beyond, just going to, yeah, everything that is in our mind, all the thoughts we have, all the ideas that we have are what we transcend or what we go beyond. None of it is true. That is the teaching. And it is the actual experience too. That's what I mean by it doesn't really matter what we believe in. If we believe in free will, death, enlightenment, whatever it is, the actual experience is goes beyond that, and it's impossible to put what that is. Or I mean, you can speak about the vast openness, emptiness, the absolute, the void, something like that. That goes beyond, God, maybe Godhead, the true self, goes beyond those ideas about free will, death, and even enlightenment itself. Yeah, so that was somewhat short take on those concepts.